Hello and welcome back to We Are Careers. Now, 2023 has undoubtedly been the year of AI. But as the dust starts to settle on a year where generative artificial intelligence has made itself known in a big way, what does this all mean for the career development sector moving forward? And this is the topic we are going to be covering with our guest, AI and careers celebrity, Danny Mirza, who we will be introducing properly very, very soon. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the We Are Careers Show, your fortnightly snippet of CPD for career development professionals, both in the UK and beyond, internationally as well. For those of you who've not met me before, my name is Chris Webb. I'm a higher education careers professional and RCDP with the Career Development Institute. And I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic co-host, Sabiha. So, Sabiha, how are we doing today? Having a nice kind of middle of the week so far.
Oh, thanks for that warm introduction, Chris, and welcome you lovely viewers as well. We've got a really exciting guest for you today that's going to be talking about, as Chris mentioned, a really sort of on-point topical subject that we're going to sort of delve into and explore with you and our guests today. So make sure that you stay tuned right till the end. But also as well, before I answer Chris's question, I've got a request that I want to make to you lovely viewers, and that is that we need your support. And how we need your support is we need you to start pressing that follow button or that subscribe button, depending upon what platform you're watching us on, so that we can grow and expand not only the topics that we talk about, but also as well get even more amazing guests for you so that we can really enhance not only for ourselves, but also for the wider community, our sort of kind of continuous professional development. So if you haven't already, maybe perhaps you're watching for the first time and you're kind of not sure whether or not this show is going to be for you, well then stay tuned to the end and let us help you sort of figure out whether or not this is going to become one of your regular CPD pieces of content. And for those of our regular viewers, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. Join in the chat bot. Let us know what part of the world or the UK are you watching us from today. We always love to hear from you, and hit that subscribe button. Now, as Chris mentioned, we've got a great topic today where we're going to be exploring about what has AI meant for career development professionals in terms of our work, and what might change regard to the service of how we support our clients moving forward. Now, you can join in, share your views in the conversation by using the chat box. So, make sure that you, get your fingers ready to start typing your comments, feedback, ideas, inspiration. And again, if you don't agree with what we're saying, let us know. Join in the conversation. I'm doing really great. I have just been, the sun is shining here where I am today, so I'm just making the most of this winter sun. Now, as always, we've different parts of the show, and towards the end of the program, we talk about the latest sort of news stories, including CDI updates, as well as what's happening in the wider industry. And there's a whole host of sort of topics and stories, newsworthy stories that we're going to be sharing with you, so stay tuned till the end. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm known as Meet Sabiha. I work internationally, helping young professionals get unstuck and get back into the career flow without the stress. I also happen to be the creator of the I'm Thriving Career Coaching Program, where I work with international coaches to help create even more transformative and more powerful career coaching interactions without wasting time on resources and tools that don't work. Now, drop in the chat already, because I'd love to hear, before we sort of kind of introduce our guests, what AI tools are you currently using or that you've used in the last 9 months? That question is what AI tools have you been using in the last 9 months? Careers Cheers time. Each show, we like to celebrate our fellow career professional who is doing amazing, impactful work in their own space. And so we like to take some time to really celebrate the good practice that is happening. So, Chris, who are we celebrating in today's Careers Cheers?
Yes, thanks, Sabiha. So I've got a bit of a long list today, so we're going to try and keep it quick because we've got loads to discuss with Danny. But first thing, as always, is just to kind of remind people, if you're a CDI member and you've not yet checked out the CDI Facebook Community of Practice, do have a look at it. It's an absolutely brilliant online community. now kind of must be approaching about sort of 1,500 plus members. And you've got that kind of almost collective hive mind for any sort of career development related questions as a practitioner that you might want to get answers to. So do check that out if you haven't seen it already. And I guess kind of as part of that, what you'll see within the kind of community of practice are some of the hashtags that get shared. So things like careers impact, where we're sharing stories of the impact that we make with clients, that again can be used as part of the way to promote and raise awareness of what's going on in the sector. And also the Reflect Back Friday, which again is looking at kind of taking that time that we don't always do to think about what's been happening kind of in our careers practice, how might that inform and kind of celebrate the work that we've been doing. So do check that out, the Facebook community of practice, if you haven't come across it. But today's Careers Cheers is a big one, as I say, and that is because we are giving a cheers to all of the individuals and organizations who've been nominated and shortlisted for the Careers in Careers Awards. Now, if you've not come across these before, this is part of the Careers in Careers Celebration Festival. It's happening for the very first time this year on the 14th of November, organised by Caroline Green, who's been on the show with us before. And at the bottom of the screen, you will see how to sign up if you've not yet seen the Careers in Careers Celebration Festival. So do check that out. But yes, our kind of careers cheers are to all of these individuals and organisations who've been nominated and shortlisted. I'm going to read them out rapid fire, and I'm going to start with none other than our guest today, Danny Mirza, who is on the list. I've just seen his name pop up on the list. So congratulations, Danny. Fantastic nomination, recognition of the work you've been doing, which is brilliant. And we'd also like to just give a big shout out to Catherine Jennett, to Dr. Oliver Jenkin, Jessica Pieri, Soma Ghosh, Janet College, Susan Collier, CSW Group, Progress Careers, RMS for Girls, Education Development Trust, CEC, Future Goals from the West Yorkshire Combined Authority, Jamie Pywell, who's been on the show before, of course, Leanne Hambley, Lucy Sattler, North Coda's Careers Teams, Keely Magin, Bella Doswell, Irene Smith, Chris Target, Jake Richins, David Rowe, Kira Bomford, Nikki Mears, and naturally talented me, Unifrog, Julie Poppleton, William Donald, Alex Pye, Judith Howard, and Kerry Senator. Massive list there, and a massive congratulations to everybody nominated or shortlisted. If you know of anyone that I've missed off that list, many, many apologies. Put them in the comments and correct me. Help me stand corrected. But a big congratulations to all of those. My name's also in there as well. I forgot to mention that, but I don't like I don't like to mention that. But yeah, big congratulations to everyone that's in there, and a massive, again, congratulations to Caroline for putting together the Celebration Festival. And those are our careers cheers for the week.
Wow. Okay, Chris, I feel like you need to take a second just to kind of breathe. So what I will do is I will sort of kind of head in now to today's theme. And also I'm going to pick up on some of the comments that have been flooding through as well. So thank you so much, you lovely viewers, for joining in. I really appreciate you joining in the conversation. Lots of people saying, answering the question, ChatGPT obviously being one of the most popular ones that seems to be being mentioned, that you're lucky joining, because Danny's going to be exploring this and he's going to giving us some tips and some hacks of how best we can use and things that he's learned along the journey as well. And I'm seeing a few different unusual ones named as well, actually, which I always like to hear about. You know, we've got here Morrisby, Huxby and ChatGPT that are being mentioned, people celebrating with us, Facebook users saying well done to the nominations, well done to the list. Caroline Green deserves a special mention for all her incredible work on the conference. Yep, so we've definitely got some fans. Alistair here, haven't really dabbled with ChatGPT. Oh, so this is a great place for us to actually get started in, because maybe perhaps like Alistair, you're hearing these names about AI, but you're really not sure how that fits in with your practice and, you know, what that would look like with, you know, how you're going to use it in your sort of kind of daily practice. So Danny, welcome. Now, before we get into the subject matter, for anybody who's not heard of you, not come into contact with the work that you do, can you share with our audience a little bit about sort of who you are, what work you're doing, and, you know, what's got you so sort of pumped up around the AI sort of space?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Hello, guys. I won't waste much time in my introduction because the topic is very, very important. I'm Danny Mirza. I'm originally from Pakistan, a former international student in the UK, and now have been working in careers and employability for the past 4 years. Have been working for Lancaster, Glasgow Caledonian, London South Bank, Northampton, and now Coventry University, London. I've been an officer, I've been a consultant, I've been a careers manager, now like the lead consultant managing the careers team for Coventry University London campuses. So been there in all these positions. So basically have dealt with a lot of students in my short career, but very eventful career. And ChatGPT and generative AI, I've been using it since the time it became public. So November last year, when it first was available for, and I consider myself to be a tech savvy person. Any technology that comes in, I'm like, I need to try that, because I am certain for one thing: students try new things. So we should try new things with the same pace and enthusiasm that they have. So that's me. And I've been experimenting with AI, all sorts of AI tools, which we will talk about later in the session. But that's me, an AI enthusiast. And now I've been training other universities and our peers in careers on different AI tools. So that's me, Danny.
Thanks, Danny. You are the master now of the kind of concise introduction. You've done it so many times now. And I think as Sabiha said, and you mentioned as well, obviously AI, it's a huge topic. We've got to start somewhere. And I suppose the first thing we wanted to talk about over that course, as Sabiha has mentioned, of kind of 9 months where it's really been a bit more mainstream and people have been using it, is what is that impact that we've seen so far? So I guess kind of both from your experience of using those tools like ChatGPT, and I guess from what you've seen across the sector in terms of how it's starting to be used within career development work more broadly.
Lovely. It's a very broad question. I'll try and answer it concisely. Basically, when it first started, everyone thought, except for me and a lot of people who were tech enthusiasts, that it's not a fad. People knew the importance it would have in the industry, because there are two kinds of people in the world, in the career sector, I believe. There is one set of people who hate AI because they haven't used it. And the other sector is basically people who love it because they have used it once. So whoever have used it once knows the value of it and knows the problems with it as well. Like all technology, nothing is perfect, right? Technology is there to help us do our job better. Simple as that. So when I first started, I think 9 months ago, people were thinking it's a fad, it would go away. They were reluctant to, experiment with it. But now, over the course of 9 months, I think people are starting to see the value in it, because they see the clientele using it. So the students, the customers, the people we help in our everyday job, they are using it on an everyday basis right now. Might not be using ChatGPT, but there are so many other versions of large language models that they use for, and it's a long debate. They could be using for academic stuff, for career development. I think you can't stop people using technology in today's world, whether it's Google, the Grammarly was already there. People have been using Grammarly and stuff. Even Grammarly has now improved their version of helping people write and correct their grammar. So we weren't worried about that. But the same thing, we shouldn't be worried about this either. It's just a new technology. All we need to help students is to get to know it, to use well, basically, and that's where we are. If the question is around, is it a friend or a foe? If that's the question, I think for me, it's 100%. It's a friend. And just like any technology can be a foe if it goes into the wrong hands or people do not know how to use it well. So that's where I stand. It's definitely 100% a friend that I so need.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, particularly around the fact that, like any technology, we'd probably be advising the same things. It's kind of made me laugh sometimes when we talk about information literacy. We'd probably advise similar things with Google when we're talking about don't take something as granted just because you've kind of read it online. But I think a lot of careers professionals I've talked to, that the real interest now is kind of coming into that practical application. How are we actually using this to maybe solve problems as part of our career development work? So I appreciate we've got a short amount of time today, Danny, but it'd be really interesting just to hear for kind of our viewers some of the different ways you've kind of actually been using it within your career development practice and what you found, I guess, has been particularly effective, and with the feedback from students you mentioned before as well.
Perfecto. I think I'll basically, the reason that after using it for 9 months and 10 months now, I saw the problems the career services are plagued with. They have problems with the limitation of responsibility, because our careers people, we do a lot of job. We have case workload of students we want to help, but we do a lot of paperwork. We do a lot of work from scratch. We spend a lot of time doing the same redundant admin work. So that's where it has helped me a lot. And all the people that I worked with helped me a lot. For example, from writing workshop plans, writing the whole timeline of any event that you want to do. For example, subject plans, faculty plans. We used to write those 5 to 6 pages of faculty plans, which I used to hate. I was like, oh no, I don't want to write them. But now I'm like, hello, manager, how many do you want? I can give you 5 or 6 of them. All of them would be very different. So how many do you want? So these things, these basic things we used to do, but I'm a procrastinator. I was like, oh, I need to write a report now. I've done amazing work with my students. Why do I have to report it now? All of a sudden, now I love reporting. If you didn't like reporting, you didn't like the paperwork involved with your work, now you will love that paperwork, because now the paperwork looks so fancy and so easy to make. So the limitation of responsibility, that we have a lot of responsibilities, but our primary responsibility was to help the client, the student. But at times we were so bogged down with the admin work, we didn't get the time for quality interactions. So that's where I saw it saved me time, so that I can spend time having quality interactions with hard to reach students. So that's one of the biggest things I've seen. Then in terms of scalability, I'm that person. I'm very energetic. I want to help everyone. We work in institutions which has thousands of students, but I think the staff to student ratio with regards to career services is not that great. We are not the main stuff that the university does. We are not teachers, we're not academics. So the university might have like 5 to 6 or 10 huge services, would have 15, 20 careers consultants, but that's it. That's still not a very high number. So that's the biggest problem I see, which was scalability. Now, if you know how to use this tech well, and you can empower the student to use it well, you can scale at least the careers information part of your delivery, not the guidance, or maybe not the advice yet. I will come back to this, but the careers information part of it. So I've used ChatGPT to make hubs. If people have attended my ACA sessions and stuff, I've done with ChatGPT. I've made a mega prompt. I've asked it in a certain way that it operates automatically. So if somebody scans or clicks the link that I give them to, it will ask them a question. Rather than the user asking ChatGPT the question, it will ask you the first question. So I've been giving those things to my students, to my peers. For example, I've made a CV reviewer in there. I've made an interview simulator there. For our careers professional staff, I've made workshop makers. I've made authentic assessment makers. All you need to do is put your brief in there, and the assessment would become authentic. It will give you tips on that. Faculty plans, subject plans, and all of those things are easily made in there. Imagine the time it saves you.
It's so interesting you talk about this, because I think people will be watching this and sort of thinking this sounds amazing, but there's also this element coming very much back to what you said about the fact that it's about what you put into it. And it's about sort of knowing how to use the technology in a particular way. So what we will do is we will share kind of Danny's LinkedIn details, because if you've not kind of seen some of Danny's posts about the hub model of kind of ChatGPT and mega prompting, it's really, really interesting. But I think just to kind of come back to what you were saying there, Danny, particularly this idea of, as you said, ChatGPT and AI tool augmenting what we do. It's not replacing it, or it might be kind of replacing bits that actually we didn't enjoy that much anyway. but ultimately, there's parts of it where it can maybe supplement or augmenting our work, but it's not necessarily taking it away.
True.
So, where do you see kind of that side of things, I suppose? What is our role, as this technology starts to grow and starts to kind of get even more sort of embedded in what we do? Why is it so important to have careers professionals there alongside clients, as you've said, advising on how we use this technology and where we might not use it, as opposed to just kind of putting it out there and letting people use it?
I think the biggest reason for us to use it, because to stay relevant and relatable to the clientele. They are into new tech. They'll be using these things for their own help. So that's one of the biggest reasons I see. And that's one of the biggest reasons I work in careers, is to make career services as relevant to the clientele. We are not academics. We are people who are changing their future. So to change their future, which is AI ridden right now, which has a lot of AI in the workplace kind of a scenario, do we as careers people, do we know AI? So that's what we need to see, that we need to develop the skills. Number one, before you start using it with the clients, you need to get comfortable yourself. So basically, you need to see that, are we comfortable in using it? I've been doing a lot of trainings with a lot of universities. Many of those people are very excited about how they can use it. It's a great engagement tool. Workshops and one-to-one appointments are amazing after this. I'll give you an example very, very quickly, because we have limited time. I wish we had more time. We could do demos and stuff, but One-to-one appointments. A lot. Let's be honest. We have been doing a lot of one-to-one appointments where people bring in no questions at all. They come in, they're like, yeah, I booked an appointment to discuss my career. And that's about it. I want to work on my CV, basic questions. But now that I've empowered students to use AI, now they bring outputs that they've created from AI to corroborate. Now they are doing the talking, and we are helping them look at this information and give them more advice and guidance based on what the output is. Now they're enjoying it much more. Talking about workshops, much more interactive now. We were doing those quizzes and stuff and QR codes. Now student does an activity in the class based on ChatGPT or any AI and takes it home with it. So I've made a careers game, a Isaac zombie apocalypse game on it, where people can play the game and take this career choice theory results at home and then experiment with it. So you are democratizing this field and you're empowering the students to help themselves in certain ways. They will still need the human touch. It's always human in the loop, because I always believe students would never be really good at using this because they're wowed by the technology. And then again, we need to empower them to ask the right questions. And that's where we come in. But I'll keep it to that if you have more questions.
No, I do. Oh, thank you. Okay, Danny, I don't even know where I want to be. I've got like a million questions for you right now. And I'm just like trying to sort of kind of organize them to make sure that I organize a sort of kind of relevant one. And before I do that, I just want to bring in exactly, Chris, I want to bring in some comments that we've just had coming through. And I think I'm going to sort of kind of end on what Isabella has just sort of said to sort of kind of lead us to the kind of next part of the conversation. We've got somebody here, Charles, who is saying that, he's created a career website using focus on career preparation within the animal-related job market, and they're using a whole host of AI tools to engage with their students. Would love a demonstration. So here's the thing, okay, I don't know who you are, Facebook user, but I would highly, highly encourage you to go on to Danny's LinkedIn page, start following him, engage with him, connect with him. I'm sure if you ask nicely, he will invite you to one of his workshops, and hopefully you'll get a spot and you'll be able to see exactly live how that demonstration works and what that can look like. I also want to mention as well, hey, Isabella, talking about, some reticent, a little bit of hesitation, and I can completely understand that when something new comes out, how do you sort of kind of bring that in, and what can that look like? And I always think, for me, it's slowly, if you bring a little bit of it into it, see how it works, see what transformation that creates, so then you can then replicate that in a different way. And also as well, I will highlight as well, because I know some of our viewers that will be watching don't work in the student space, or perhaps maybe don't work in a large institution, and might be wondering, listening to all of this amazing sort of kind of ideas and different ways of how AI can be used, that you might be wondering, well, look, Danny, Sabiha, Chris, I don't work with young people who are interested in tech. I work with sort of returning mums going back into the workforce. They might be working with people in the latter phases of their careers where technology may not necessarily be. But I think what I would highly encourage you to do is listen to what Danny is saying of how it's elevated, removed and reduced so many different aspects of his job that he was doing, particularly sort of kind of administrative stuff, that is now making his life a lot more easy. So he's able to focus on those sort of kind of humanistic, useful ideas. We've got Leanne here as well that's talking about, sorry, I don't know if that came up. I hope it frees up to focus more on helping. And this is the point, I think, it helps to use it, in terms of AI, provides a career counselling element which rarely gets mentioned in our offering. We've got North Hampshire Careers Service here. I'm a self-confessed AI avoider, as my client group doesn't understand it and doesn't want to use it, as they have a fear. So Danny, let's talk to that.
I think just very quickly, Sabiha, just to come back to, I think it was Nadia's point. Information on creating mega prompt. Danny's very kindly just sent me in the chat a link to a YouTube video. So I would suggest is on the bottom of the screen, you'll see it flashing up now. Take a screenshot. That's the YouTube link, and that is from a recent webinar that Danny was involved in, where it shows you how that kind of mega prompt approach works. So to really do have a look at it, it's once you get your head around it, it's very intuitive. And I think kind of to come back to sort of Debbie's comment there about, being an AI avoider, there's kind of two elements to this. I think one that Danny's mentioned about actually kind of making our lives simpler, but the other side is that idea of actually, as careers professionals, we kind of need to know how it's impacting other industries. Because actually what we're seeing is that AI-enabled professionals are going to be what employers are looking for in a lot of industries. So it's that kind of, it starts with us, doesn't it, Danny, as you were saying?
True.
Sorry, Sabiha, back to you.
No, great point. And I'm glad that you sort of kind of gave that info, Nadia. I hope that was helpful for you and for anyone else who was listening that maybe perhaps didn't put it in the chat, but was thinking, oh, I'd love to get my hands on it, as we've just done, we've brought the link. And I think I just want to sort of come back to that question, actually, of somebody who is feeling a little bit, maybe just overwhelmed, maybe the day-to-day job of what they're currently doing right now has just sort of, depleted them, or maybe there's just too much on. So this idea now of, oh my God, I've got to learn a new thing to do. What would be sort of, are there any hacks? Is there any tips that you can give the audience today to say, here you go, here's something that's simple and easy enough to sort of kind of follow so that people can dip their toe in?
Yep. I think the biggest thing I see with generative AI, and if you want to experiment with it, do not wait to get on your laptop to try this. Because trying to use any new website that you see around generative AI or ChatGPT, try it on your phone when you're just sitting on your couch and just watching TV. That's the biggest hack I've seen. Because if you leave it, let me just get on my professional laptop, my university laptop and everything, and then I'll do it, you will have a lot of work to do when you get on the laptop and you'll forget about doing it. Try and experiment with it. ChatGPT, Bing AI, Bard, everyone is available on the phone right now. So try to use it on the phone, maybe with the audio function. It will definitely help you. Any query that you have, it can help you there and then, and you'll see the value in it. So if you haven't started using it, use this tech in your personal type. Do not wait for you to, basically don't put time aside in your professional life to do this, because this will never be at the top of your priority. So that's one thing. One thing that I want to quickly touch around people who have fear of this thing. This is nothing to fear. This is just like when Google came and there were books. Now there is Google. It's just the same transition which is happening. It's just like a Google which talks to you. It's just like that, basically, and it can help you. So if you know how to type, right? Everyone knows how to type. They're typing. That's the learning curve. So if you think there's a learning curve in using it, it's all about typing and chatting. So if you know how to chat with a human being, you talk to other peers, you talk to people, that's how you do this. Quickly, ChatGPT now has a chat function. Like you can talk to like a human version of ChatGPT. Amazing. Because at times you're just so tired, sitting on your couch. You don't want to actually write a big prompt. You don't want to type. You just want to say, hi, I'm so tired right now. I was helping with a client and the client had this problem. What should I do? Just do it. Just experiment today. Download ChatGPT, use their chat function. You'll be amazed by the kind of replies it will give. You'll be like, Danny, don't worry, be calm down. It will actually do those things. It has EQ now, emotional quotient. So it is just emotionally intelligent now. So try and use it that way. One last thing, if you help clients which have fear of using this, just tell them one thing. Even if the clients are going at a senior level position or a leadership role in any organization, that organization has to adopt AI sometime in the future. So if they are not aware of AI and if they keep on having this fear, how would they become a good leader? So that's a great way to do this. You could sell it like a project to your clients. All the people who say that we help people who have fear around this, tell them this is a great tool, an initiative that you can go if you get hired. You can pitch this thing in your interview, sell it like that. And I think that definitely changes. I sell it to my students like that and my careers people who say, oh, you want to apply for another job in a university? Start using AI in your job application, write that.
I couldn't agree more, and I think it's just as applicable for any careers professional. It's it's not to say that anyone's got all the answers now. And I think you're the first person I know, Danny, to say that no one's an expert in this yet. We're all experimenting, but I think it's such a good point. The same advice that we might give to clients. AI is going to be a big part of the modern workforce, particularly in professional level roles. How are you going to be using it? How are you going to be leveraging it? Can it be a point of difference for you? It's such an important point. There's so much that we could talk about on this topic. I mean, I think one of the best comments I've seen, just in terms of linking back everything that you've talked about today, is this sort of comment here around bite-sized experiments. Exactly what you've just said there. It's not necessarily about having to know it all in one go, although there are some great courses out there, the Coursera course that's been mentioned on prompt engineering, but it's those, as you said, bite-sized experiments, getting on the phone, getting on the computer, trying it out. Trying out the different tools. It doesn't just have to be ChatGPT. It can be kind of video software, can be DALL-E, can be image creation, seeing what it kind of comes up with. So I think that's really good to see that. There's so much stuff in here as well that we could cover, lots of stuff around some of the potential risks, over-reliance, stuff like data privacy, copyright infringement, loads to fill, easily another half an hour. But we are going to have to finish there, partly because Danny Mirza, you have to get off. You have a careers fair to go to. So we will bid you farewell and say a massive thank you again for joining us today before we move on to the news.
Thank you very much, everyone. And get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Definitely, if you want links to my YouTube videos and stuff that I've done, where I've done demos and experiment, please get in touch. And we can definitely work together on a lot of these different projects and answer all the questions that I could not answer here. Thank you very much, CDI. Thank you very much for having me here. Cheers. Until next time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Danny, for joining us. And I know there was some of you that were also, thanks, Danny, for joining us. And I know that there was some of you that had questions around the risk of using AI, whatever AI app that we're sort of kind of referring to. And somebody just, I think, put it in perfectly, where a Facebook user said, please, can we have another session on this? Absolutely great. And I think that's where we're going to have to sort of kind of explore those sort of kind of elements that Chris, Danny, and the comments that have been coming through as well. And so all we have left to do now in today's show is to do the news section. So I'm going to kickstart it off with the 3 top stories from the CDI, and then I'm going to hand over to Chris, because Chris has got some great stories for us today from the wider community as well. So here are my selection of the CDI's news. So join leaders and strategic thinkers from across the career development, discuss the rapid changes impacting the world of work and what they mean for future career development. And this is going to be taking place as the CDI Summit on Monday, the 4th of December at the studio at Birmingham from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a drinks reception afterwards. There are some amazing keynote speakers, as well as sort of other speakers and workshops that are going to be taking place. And for more information about what that looks like, head on over to the CDI website for the latest program and to book your place. Then story number 2 is, it's that time of year again. Can you believe it? Next month, Monday, the 27th of November, between 3:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. is going to be the CDI AGM, where the CDI board and chief executive for the CDI's annual general meeting will be reviewing the organization's performance from the year till the end of March 2023. Now, this is a members only event, and it's an exclusive and excellent opportunity to hear from the CDI leadership. So if you haven't already joined and you've been waiting for an excuse, perhaps maybe this could be a reason why you joined the CDI membership. And then finally, my story number 3 is the new CDI team members have been added to the team that are going to be focusing on research and campaigns. So following a recent round of recruitment, the CDI are delighted to announce that there are 3 new appointments to the CDI team. And you've heard this name being mentioned extensively today, both in the show as well as in the chat. And that is that Caroline Green is joining as Content and Campaigns Manager. We've got Stephen Plimmer joining as research manager to develop a research strategy. And then finally, we have Kim Newman, who will be joining as technical education program manager. So congratulations and well done. And you'll be seeing, and I'm sure hearing from these names over the course of weeks and days and months as they sort of kind of settle into their new roles. So that's what I had. And also as well, just a kind of little bit of a tip, okay, around, or should I give a sort of kind of hint, embracing equality and inclusion and diversity in the career development. Now, the next show is going to be jam-packed about this. And my guests and co-hosts are going to be joining me to explore this. So this is something that we'll go into more detail in the next show. Chris, what have you picked for us in terms of the wider community stories that you've selected for us this week?
Yeah, thanks, Sabiha. So we're going to start keeping along that kind of AI theme. So colleagues may have kind of seen online over the past week a news story about the Department for Education and this kind of hackathon that they're setting up with a range of multi-academy trusts, so schools kind of across England. And the idea behind this is they're looking at, what could AI be used for to help, I guess, increase efficiencies in areas like careers advice, which they've named, writing EHCP plans, these sort of things. It seems to be a kind of fairly standard sort of government response. Let's throw money at one supplier. Let's come up with a solution to what is ultimately a very complex problem. So it is something that is really worth keeping an eye out for. And it's quite a kind of closed case study. So it'd be interesting to see how it develops, particularly as careers advice is specifically mentioned. If you're interested in hearing a little bit more about kind of AI in schools specifically, do check out Teachers Talk Radio tonight. I'm actually going to be on there as well as Janet College. Janet's going to be talking about Ofsted. I'm going to be talking all about AI and career development work, and essentially why AI can't replace the role of a qualified careers professional. So do check that out if you've not kind of come across it before on Twitter. Our second story about careers and connectivities. This is a really nice initiative from Anthony Adams. It's basically a partnership between Anthony's company Careers Calendar and a range of sort of industry bodies to do with the telecom sector. But it's just a really, really nice example of where you've got industry that are struggling to recruit, partnering with a very progressive kind of careers professional who says, this is how I can help you get out to a wider audience. So great kind of example of sort of career development sector and industry partnering. Do check that out. I think it's a really nice case study. And then finally, a bit of a heads up. We've got kind of a secret special that we've kind of been keeping under our hats. So National Mentoring Day 2023 is next Friday, the 27th of October. And we are going to have a one-off We Are Careers special all about mentoring, featuring myself, Sabiha, Rosemary McLean, and another guest as well. So do keep a lookout for that. We'll be promoting that from Monday, this Monday coming. And it's all about National Mentoring Day. So do keep your eyes peeled on our social channels for that. But that really takes us very nicely up to the end of the episode. As Sabiha has mentioned, we've got a very special episode next time around on Wednesday, the 1st of November at the usual time of 12 o'clock. I am absent for that week, so I'm being replaced by special guest co-host CDI Chief Executive David Morgan, and we also have a very special guest Ifsa Shakur back again, I think for the hat trick of appearances on We Are Careers. And as Sabiha mentioned, it's going to be all around that equity, diversity and inclusion piece. So please do join us then. We really look forward to seeing you, and have a great fortnight in the meantime. Take care. Thanks for watching.